right, everybody, welcome back to a very special and very fun From Screen to Shelf review. I went and saw Abigail in Dolby on Thursday. Gabe went.
Dolby.
Gabe, you went Friday or no? You went Sunday. Will
Yeah.
just got out. So fresh off his mind, he'll have the freshest thoughts, and we're gonna go round table in the order that we've seen it, as we usually do From Screen to Shelf style. So the Dolby experience was great. I was a few minutes late, so I might have missed.
This man needs a sponsorship from Dolby Cinema, by the way.
Just something that can roll right in the middle of our screens like that. Not a sponsor, but I missed the very beginning of it, but I was able to capture the part where they take Abigail and stuff, and it sets up the whole premise that's really in the trailer and everything. And I thought that was cool because they really did disguise themselves well enough where I couldn't even tell that was Melissa Barrera. Then honestly, I started really getting Cabin in the Woods vibes. That's really why I think I really was messing with this movie really heavy, man. It didn't quite go the lengths, and I don't want to set that precedent for people. I don't think it quite went the lengths that Cabin in the Woods went. But I definitely think that it found its own identity that Radio Silence is really, really well known for at this point with Ready or Not and the two Scream movies they have really under their belt. I had a lot of fun. Abigail is probably, aside from Chucky, one of the funniest and just gruesome killers in a movie now. She's just, her ballerina dances, the way that she does things, the songs, everything like that. It was really cool. And it really does start a lot faster than I'm typically used to in a horror movie. I believe that you have maybe within 10 minutes, you have two people die within the first 20 minutes and then 10 minutes of each other. So that was really, really cool. I just found the premise, especially whenever they find out, the one guy's the guy that Frank, I believe, that's really at war with Melissa's character. Whenever he finds out who's her father, I fucking loved that reaction. That was hilarious.
Dan Stevens' character, right?
Dan Stevens, he was in The Guest, right? He was the main character in The Guest.
Yeah.
So
he was also in Godzilla Cross Kong more recently before this.
Oh, he played the guy that replaces the tooth, right?
Yeah, he was not the dentist.
The
what is he? The fucking I don't even know who he is in the movie.
He's the comedic relief. He's gonna win an Oscar for that role. That movie is gonna win an Oscar. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. This movie, the humor didn't feel Marvel-ish, which is one of the things I really want to compliment it on to the fullest. Because nowadays you get a lot of movies, and I guess since Godzilla X Kong was brought up, that's a perfect example of where it really just tries to do something else and copycat it. And this movie doesn't do that. Every single thing that was supposed to be funny, I think, landed for me. I can't remember one where everybody else. I had a okay packed theater. It was Dolby, so I mean that would be a lot of people, but at least the center was pretty packed. So a lot of people were having a hoot and a holler, laughing probably longer than they really should have, and probably not laughing enough at parts that were a bit funnier. I just had a really good time with it. And shout out, what's her name? Catherine Newton. She was in Lisa Frankenstein, which is another favorite of mine of this year. She's just on a roll with the roles that she's choosing lately. She's just a great actress, and I can't wait to see her find much more mainstream success outside of these movies. But she's really, really good in the roles that she's choosing. If neither of you guys have seen
the
Lisa,
movie, was it Sam?
Sammy. Her code name. Yeah, Sam or Sammy. Okay. Yeah. Every character was likable. There's some characters that didn't last as long as I really wanted to. It made me not want to get attached to the rest of the cast. But I really loved that final act. That final act was just so fun. It was just so fun. And that's really the part where the Cabin in the Woods comparison really comes in for me. But I had a blast with this. So on my side, I guess I'll go ahead and give it, or I'll tell you my rating. And I'm glad. I do want to preface, I thought this was going to be a Megan situation until a couple of people went into the Discord after I watched it and I gave them my rating and they saw my Letterboxd review. It literally says in there, I am probably in the minority with this high of a rating, but there's people that are agreeing with me. And of course, still minority probably. But it's not a Megan situation where I loved it so much more than everybody else and everybody else found it mediocre. We'll find out about you guys, of course. But 9 out of 10 for me. I loved that movie that much. Wow. I kid you not. It is genuinely, Dune is different, right? It's a spectacle. It's a masterpiece. It's modern art. But on a pure fun scale, this is some of the most fun I've had in a movie in probably about a year or two. It's just so pure fun, you know, and it didn't feel too cliche throughout the entire movie as well. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I honestly, I mean, you kind of said most of what I want to say, but I think what really landed in this film for me is just like it does not take itself seriously whatsoever. It
Yeah.
knows 100% like what it wants to be and what it is,
Yeah.
and it shoots for the moon knowing that. Like I really, really loved Melissa Barrera is such a treat, dude. I
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, I'm
She's
still
great.
kind of pains me that she's gone from Scream because she was fantastic in this. I think she did a great job. The girl who plays Abigail did a fantastic job. I mean, honestly, the whole cast kills it. Like they have
do.
such like weird oddball characters. They're all so different. And they all do a great job portraying, the characters that they're portraying. So fantastic cast. I loved the pacing of the movie. It didn't feel too long. It didn't feel too short. The story was just an absolute blast. And honestly, to me, this is like more of a comedy. I know it's like it has the horror elements to it, but to me, it's just purely a comedy. It's just so over the top.
Yeah.
With those, with the moments that it's shooting to make you laugh at, and yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. I will say, like, the final act kind of, there were some things, maybe we'll do like a 2-minute spoiler talk, that I kind of took me out a little bit. Even though I know it's just ridiculous and over the top, but the final act kind of lost me for a little bit. But honestly, I'd give this movie like an 8.5 out of 10. I really, really
Oh,
liked
yeah.
it. There's people just they were cracking up in the theater, dude. I haven't been in a
Yeah.
movie like that where people are like just genuinely laughing and having
Yeah.
a good time. And like you said, Chase, the humor is not forced whatsoever. It's not like
So
the
organic.
quirky punchlines that Marvel does. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
completely organic, and it's just a fun time, dude. I miss seeing movies like this where it's just it knows what it is and it knows what it wants to be, and you're just there for the ride. And I think that's what Abigail does, and it succeeds at it. So great movie. 8.5 out of 10.
Hell yeah. Okay. 2 for 2 on the positive
Will is
side.
fresh out of
Will's
it.
gonna be like, I fucking suck,
hate
and
this
just hang
shit.
up, just leave.
Yeah, it was terrible. No, no, I'm kidding. No, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Hell yeah.
I'm too cheap to go. I was too cheap to see it in a Dolby Cinema.
Damn,
So
man.
like a pleb, I saw it like everybody else. Yeah, I really liked it. I can't really add on to anything that you guys have already said. I'll say this: I did a little bit of research into it before, while the previews were playing. So apparently, this was actually supposed to be a modern day interpretation of the film Dracula's
Yep.
Daughter,
Yep.
which is a
Oh, yeah.
1936 Universal monster film, and I had no idea
Mm-hmm.
that this is how this script originated. So I could see the original thread of that throughout this
Yeah.
movie, and I thought that was
Very.
kind of cool. But yeah, I would say that this is more of a almost like a black comedy than it is a horror film. Although there are
Mhm.
some pretty bloody moments in it, which I really appreciate, and I think that'll please a lot of the horror fans that are hoping for hoping for blood, hoping for some of those practical effects. We get some of that. But yeah, what I didn't expect was for this movie to really actually make me laugh. It was really enjoyable, and that honestly, I got to say, it's one of the most, I think, surprising moments that I've had so far this year with a movie, in a good
Agreed.
way.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I think that's why it's resonating with people so much. It's not necessarily is it completely original, but it's unique enough that I think it's going to stand out. And I want to say something else about the characters too, because you guys touched on that. Every character in this movie was different from one another.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like when I look at each character in this film, the performances were all very well done. I think everybody did a fantastic job. The girl that played Abigail was amazing.
Great.
I would not be surprised if they greenlight a sequel to this movie because I feel
Yeah.
like, especially with the ending scene, and I don't want to get into spoilers right away. We'll get into that later, but they definitely set up the potential for some world building, down
Yeah.
the line if they choose to do a sequel. So there's definitely room to grow there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like right out of the theater, I was just like, wow, that was really fucking funny. And it was a Monday, so there wasn't too many people in my theater, but the people that were there, like we definitely, it got a lot of laughs and I love like I'm with you, Gabe, with the Marvel stuff. I'm so tired of like the forced
Mhm.
dialogue, like, oh, it's time for the comedic relief line
Time
here.
for a joke.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Marvel movies have kind of, I don't know. I guess we can say that audiences have become a bit jaded to that kind of stuff because we've gotten so much of it that a movie
Mhm.
like this is so refreshing. for that very reason, that it's just so original in its approach, and where those comedic tones come in, and how those are laced throughout the film. It just felt so refreshing. And I would highly recommend that people check this out. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Fuck
Solid 4 out of 5, which is like an 8 out of
Nice.
10 for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't say enough. And yeah, Melissa Barrera, Gabe, you said it too. I thought about that during the movie. Like, damn, they really dropped the fucking ball with her with the scream
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah.
and I
She's so
felt
good.
that watching this, because she really is great, and she's such a talent, and she shines in this movie. But shout out to the cast overall, because everybody does a
Yeah, everyone
fantastic
did a
job.
great job.
Shout out
So
Mr. Cloud. That was his last performance
Oh,
posthumous.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And he did
Famous
a great
Cloud.
job too.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. But yeah, I also I didn't expect there to be deaths so quickly in the movie, so that threw me
Yeah,
off right away
same.
in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, like I said, it caught me off guard in a good way. There were a lot of surprises. It was really funny. It was original. It felt pure. It felt genuine. Like you
Mhm.
guys said, it didn't take itself too seriously. It knew exactly what it wanted to be. Everybody that was involved knew exactly what the tone of this movie was. And I think that's why it works so well, because everybody that was there knew what kind of movie they wanted to make. And it was great. Yeah, the comedy was great. There wasn't any like cringy lines of dialogue in it or anything like that. So I really appreciate it. I think it was a really great experience, and I would see it again, actually. So,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
see it in
I would
theaters again,
too.
but
I actually told a buddy to go see it, and I think I will tell people, because we've talked about watching trailers. I feel like the trailer does
yeah,
give too much away. And
yeah,
he hasn't seen the trailer,
I
so I
agree with
told him
that.
just to go in. I'm like, just go in and just have if you don't know what this is about, like, and you just walk into this movie, you are gonna have an absolute blast. Because
Yeah.
if you already watched the trailer, you already kind of know what to expect a little bit. I do
Yeah,
think that they do a good job kind of deviating from the path of like predictability. Like, this movie did take a lot of turns where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. But if you
Yeah.
don't know what this movie's about, and you just walk into it, you are gonna have an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Did
I
you
can
guys
see
want to get
that.
into in a spoiler territory real quick, or?
I mean, the only big spoiler for me would be the ending, and
Yeah.
what you guys think about that, but I really kinda touched on that,
I liked it. I
lightly, but
liked how 3, 2, 1 spoiler warning. I liked how Dracula came in because I wasn't actually expecting that. I thought it was just its
yeah.
own take. I didn't research that it was Dracula's daughter, which even if I
Mhm.
had known that, I feel like that would have given much more away. I just thought it was just a vampiric daughter or girl
Yeah.
at that
Mhm.
point. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, like her just trying to seek her dad's approval and stuff like that. And like there's this whole
Yeah,
unraveling mystery about like, do you know whose daughter that is? The guy
yeah.
one time had like 3 informants in a room on the
Mhm.
26th floor and they were all decapitated and it was all secure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she goes into the tangent about how it's her and how
Yeah.
she would just fly in and she's
That's
the
funny.
decapitator. I liked it. Honestly, I think the only part I guess I would say felt forced is the part where he's like, "Fuck it, bite me." It's just like that's just
That's what I was
Yeah.
mentioning in my reviews, that the part that kinda took me out of it a little bit was that
yeah,
part. I felt like that was just kind of like forcing itself into kind of the climax, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But the part that made up for it, in my opinion, was when Melissa Barrera and Abigail team up. Like, that
That
was
was
kinda cool.
great.
Yeah, that I
Yeah.
Yeah,
didn't see that coming. I'm like, "Okay, there's a little team up here, and that's pretty cool."
and
Yeah.
the cinematography in that was really cool.
Yeah, that final sequence. And honestly, dude, I mean, like, everything was pretty much, I don't know if you guys remember Blade, the end of Blade, where
Yeah,
Frost kind of blows up, there's blood
Mhm.
everywhere. That happens like 20 times over in this movie. I
yeah,
never
Yeah.
seen that interpretation of like light hitting a vampire, and it's usually like, ah, my skin burns, not I'm gonna blow up
It
into
just blows up instantly,
yeah,
yeah.
into oblivion.
Yeah, that
yeah,
was fun.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's what I
awesome
think
movie, man.
I liked about it, though. It like, so even that was like different than what we've seen before. So they kind of did their
Yeah.
own unique spin on that. It's taking something that we're familiar with, but presenting it in a different way, and that's what I think made this movie so special. But yeah, I mean, I thought the ending was it was fun. I mean, I liked that Abigail's character showed a little bit of those redeeming qualities by sparing Melissa
Mhm.
Barrera's character's life, right? So that
mhm,
just goes to show that, you know, throughout the film, I think her character is the one person that kind of feels bad for what's happening to
Mhm.
Abigail, and I think that's where that connection comes into play. Like, she's the only
yeah,
one that showed any kind of concern, slightly
Yeah.
for what was going on. So that's kind of cool. They didn't make her like completely like merciless. So that was like a nice good deed that she did at the end of the film. So And yeah, the whole dynamic between her and her father. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. They don't actually mention Dracula in the film by name, do they?
He
Because
just says
his
he goes
name
by a
is
lot.
Lazar or
Yeah.
something like that. I forget the guy's
Lazar.
name.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
he
I
just
thought
goes
that
by
was
I have
kind of
many
cool.
names, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
He
so.
says he has
He
many
made a
names.
remark like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I kind of like that play on it. I thought that was unique and something that, we haven't really seen before in this kind of movie. So yeah, I mean, it definitely separates itself from other vampire movies, which is cool. Because I
Yeah.
feel
You know
like
what
we
we
haven't
need?
really gotten a good vampire film
In a
in a
minute.
long time.
We
Yeah.
need Dracula the drug warlord. After all the teases in that
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
that would
Do a
just be
spin
cool.
off on
'cause
him.
Yeah, dude, because they're like, one of the people was there from like Montreal, Quebec area, and he was like, "Yeah, you
Yeah.
were in our operations, which you probably didn't know was part of our operations." And they're
Yeah.
like somewhere in the middle of America, like so. Dracula's probably just like, man, he's
That would be
he's
cool.
he's the man.
I am kind of hesitant about what Will just mentioned. Like, I'm sure they are going to greenlight a sequel. I don't know how I feel about that because I do like just
I
how
don't know about that.
unique and kind of this is just kind of to me this is just like a fun standalone kind of adventure.
It's not
But
doing well box office wise versus its budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Civil
Oh wait,
War, I
hold
think,
on.
actually beat it out again this weekend.
It had a good Saturday because when I checked it, it was a Saturday morning and it was at 4 million, 15.2 million box office. It might just squeak by.
Word of
depending
mouth
on if it's a
might
stream.
help it. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
people are talking about it, and I
Yeah.
think Chase was kind of touching on this before I went to go see it. Just to support this movie because I feel like, I mean,
Yeah.
this movie is such a treat. You know what I mean? And
go support it.
it's clearly like a labor of love, and I think that people should go see it theatrically if you can.
Yeah.
I think it's 100% worth it, and it's just something different. You know what I mean? I don't think that we've had a movie like this in quite some time.
Yeah. I agree. 4K win.
Yeah. I think the budget was what, like 28 million or something like that, 30
28.
million.
15.2
So-
as of right now for the intake, which it can still break even essentially.
I think
Yeah,
they
I
can
hope
break
so. I
even
hope it
and
does.
get some. I think a lot of people are going to buy this in terms of physical media collectors. I can see
Yeah,
this
I'll
one being
definitely
a
buy it,
popular
hands
one. If they
down.
get a clean, glossy black steel book,
Even with just that poster with what we're using as our background
buy
right
it.
here,
Yeah,
I'd still be okay
100%.
with just that.
Yeah,
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, with the wedding dress, that'd be dope. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was such a fun ride. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I know I just talked about Civil War being top 5. I wouldn't be surprised if this one makes top 5 too, because this one is just such a
This is in my
unique,
top
fun
5.
ride. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is another one that it's memorable. So you guys
Yeah.
need to go check it out if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely. Any other closing thoughts?
No, go see the movie. Support
Yeah,
it.
go see it in
Go
Dolby.
support it. In Dolby. Yeah, because the tickets are more expensive, so your money technically goes further to supporting it.
I mean,
Bro, that
doesn't
shit
Dolby
goes to
get
Dolby.
some of
That
that
shit
too?
goes to
Yeah,
Dolby, bro.
yeah.
That shit all goes to Dolby.
I'm just gonna
Like,
get a hat.
subscribe, check out our other content. We have longer form content like podcasts, exclusive discussions only on this channel from screen to shelf. Check it out. Check out our shit, guys.
Check out our shit, guys.
Later, everybody.
And buy and drink fucking Celsius. Okay.
We are powered by Celsius.
We are.
Cool. Yeah, that was great.